Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today I thought I would tell you guys my riding story. I thought I'd bring you along from start to finish, or from start to where we are now, and talk to you about the different horses I've had, the lessons I've learned along the way, the mistakes I've made, the highs, the lows, the everything in between. I thought I'd just bring you along. I'll insert some photos, maybe some videos of some of the horses, and yeah, I'm just going to give you a honest insight into my life with horses. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you do enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe, and in the comments please let me know what videos, like what other style of video you want to see, what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying. Just any form of feedback would be hugely appreciated. So yeah, let's get started. So I was very fortunate to be born into an equestrian household. I would say my dad isn't horsey, but my mum has been horsey since she was younger, so the horsey equestrian lifestyle is very much in my blood. Since I can remember, I remember my mum having horses. I remember coming home and the smell of the house, the smell of the stables, the hay, all that sort of stuff. I remember it all. So my mum took me to a local riding school when I was probably, I want to say, about 5 years old, and I was terrified. I was literally terrified. I remember the first riding lesson that I had, I think the woman back then was trying to get me to do sitting, like just to do sitting trot, or I can't remember. But basically every time my bum came out the saddle, she'd say, "Sarah, I'm going to pinch your bum. I'm going to come and pinch your bum." And it literally terrified me. It literally terrified me. I wasn't overly keen to go back, I'm not gonna lie. I remember coming home, my mum was like, "Oh, like, did you enjoy it? Like, how was it?" And I was like,
Mummy, I don't think it's for me.
But anyway, she persevered with it, and she took me back, and I think I had a different instructor or something, and it was just, oh, I loved it. Literally, I don't think she could get me off of the pony at the end of the lesson. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. So yeah, probably from the age of about, I want to say maybe 5, 6 to like age 8, I was at a riding school, just learning the basics, learning the ropes. My dad at this point was a bit nervous that I was obviously catching the bug a bit. So then at 8 years old, I remember my parents said to me, "Sarah," really random, they said, "Sarah, our next door neighbour, her child, they're looking for a pony. And she's busy with school," even though it was like 5 o'clock in the evening. "So we're going to take you to try the pony, and we're going to let them know how it is, if it's suitable for the girl, because, you know, you're a similar age, etc, etc. So yeah, we're just going to take you there. Basically, it's like the test dummy." So I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, amazing. Any like excuse to go and ride like a pony, great. So we drive down there. I think it was about, I remember it being about a couple of hours away, but it seemed like just forever together. And we got there, and oh my gosh, the pony, she was a little grey but with a little pink nose and black dots all around her nose, like, you know, I don't even know what that's called, but a pink dotty nose around the eyes, like all sort of like under her grey coat. And she was just the cutest little thing. She was called Cookie, and I remember she actually like bit my mum over the stable door. And my mum was like, "Oh, Sarah, she thought my finger was a carrot or something." And I was like, "Oh, ha." But yeah, I rode her, and I fell in love with her. And I was like, oh my God, like, I had absolutely no idea that, I thought it was legit that we were trying this pony for like my friend, my neighbour. I wasn't even friends with her. So yeah, we got back in the car, and my parents said to me, "Oh, like, did you like Cookie? Like, how did you find her? Do you think she'll be good for this, for your neighbour?" And I was like, yeah, she'll be amazing. Like, she's such a sweet pony. And then my mum was like, "How would you feel if like she was yours?" And I was like, oh my gosh. I remember the feeling so clear, all in my stomach. I was like, oh my gosh, I literally can't believe it. Am I going to be getting my own pony? And my parents were like, yes you are. So very lucky girl. We got her vetted, only a little 2-stage vetting. We got her home, and she was my first pony. And honestly, when I say to you, you know, there's that, oh no, I've had 2. I'd say I've had 2 horses in my life that have been like your, like, heart horse. And she was one of them. She was beautiful. I'll try and insert some like pictures and stuff with her. But yeah, I did everything with her. I took her to Pony Club camp. I just enjoyed her, and she was just the best little thing ever. So I think I had her for about 2 years, not long enough. Had about a year of riding, and then unfortunately I think she had Cushing's or something. I can't really remember. It was something, she had Cushing's and another sort of issue. So we retired her for a bit, but she wasn't coping very well, so we had to have her put down, which was literally the most heartbreaking thing ever. Literally ever. It took me like years to get over it. So when we realised that Cookie was sort of slowing down a bit and we retired her, my parents thought it would be a good idea to buy me another pony. God, that sounds so spoiled, doesn't it? I do appreciate that I have been very lucky, by the way. Oh, this sounds so like spoiled, doesn't it? But they thought, do you know what? She's shown that she's dedicated. She's shown that she's willing to get up early and go and do all the mucking out and put in the graft for it. So we went to go and look at a little, she's probably about 12 to 13 hands, little bay mare called Rosie. And she was beautiful. She was a good looking pony. She was smart. And I remember going to see her, and a little boy had her before me, and he had like, it was really random, they had like this little cross-country course, like basically in like their back garden. And I remember he was just bombing her around, like taking her through the water, like over the jumps, like really like tight turns and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this pony's cool. She's cool, she's pretty, she's cute, like let me have a ride. So I got on her and I enjoyed it. It was good. She was really cute. So we ended up getting her, again had her vetted, got her home, and she taught me a lot. She was amazing, don't get me wrong, she was absolutely amazing. I did so much with her, but she had a side to her, like a typical mare. She could be going around beautifully, and then all of a sudden, like a squirrel would go past in the bush or something, and she'd be off ski, like she would be gone, and there was nothing I could do. She'd just blind bolt everywhere. So that definitely taught me a lot about trying to stay on when they do that. I used to do mounted games with her. I loved it. I literally loved it. I did mounted games, a bit of cross country, just a bit of everything like kids do. We went to a Pony Club Games competition, and at the time, I don't know if they still do this, but they had like a, I can't remember what it's called, like a best dress. People will know, leave in the comments what I'm talking about, because I literally can't even remember. Like a best dress, like best turned out sort of competition before the main competition. So basically they judged you on like how clean you were, how well platted your horse was, how clean your tack was, all that sort of stuff. And it was out for everyone in the competition. And I ended up winning this like best turned out prize. So I went in for my prize giving before the actual like mounted games competition, and we were all walking around, and this pony, Rosie, she literally just all on grass. And I remember she was charging towards this like roped bit of fencing. So I was like, right, I'm off ski, like see ya, like I'm bailing on this. So it's the only time that I've done that I chose to fell off. Like I thought I remember counting myself down. I was only like 10. I was like 3, 2, 1. And then yeah, I hit the ground and I just saw her like fuck off across the car park. So that was sick. And I got up, and like all my cream jumpers, I was literally covered head to toe in like thick black mud, and I still had to go and do the prize giving for the best turned out looking like that. So that was quite ironic. But yeah, she was a cool pony, really cool pony. So by the time I outgrew Rosie, I had sort of decided that I was earing towards the show jumping, cross-country eventing sort of vibe. But the next pony we ended up getting was called Squiffy. He was cool. He was really cool. He was about 13.2, completely like white grey, but like white grey, and a bit of an older boy. He was probably about 15, 16, and he had the longest neck. I think he had like the neck of like Bumble, like the neck of a horse. The longest neck I think I've ever seen in my whole life. But he was cool. I remember going to see him, and we drove for about 5 or 6 hours to get there to go and see him. I was quite nervous on him because I think when he jumped, he'd sort of almost like cat leap a little bit, or he just had like a huge jump. Again, I'll try and put some pictures in because he'd literally, his knees were up here and his head was down here. Like he had a huge jump, and it did unseat me a bit, but he seemed really safe, really genuine. So yeah, I fell in love with him, and we got him home. I probably had him for, again, about 2-3 years-ish until I outgrew him. But I did everything with him. I did show jumping, cross country. I did a bit of dressage with him, and he was really sweet. He was really sweet. I had one occasion with him. This is, touch wood, at the moment, probably the worst fall that I have had. I went cross country training. It was like a pony club clinic or something with a few of my friends, and we got to a ditch which had, you know when they have like the poles, the half poles either side, just as like the, I don't know a thing about jumping anymore, like a little ground pole thing, I don't know, but it had that. And literally, when I say to you, all I can remember is cantering up to this ditch. It was a ditch and a few strides and then like another cross country jump, cantering up to it, and then all I remember was like everything went black, the sound of gravel, like a car going on gravel, obviously where he stopped, me falling off, face hit this wooden beam, flip into the ditch, and I think I was knocked out for like a couple of minutes or whatever. I woke up and I literally had pools of blood just coming out of my face. I was just so confused. I literally had no idea what happened. And I said to my mum, I was like, I don't want to jump anymore. Like, I literally don't want to jump. I'm too scared. That's scared me. I don't like ambulances. Like, I'm not a fan. So she's like, okay, no worries. What do you want to do? At the time, I was a bit like, not sure if I want to even ride, but I got over that quickly. And I turned my head to dressage a little bit. Squiffy had to do some dressage, basically. So he did quite well. He actually moved quite nicely looking back at it. He had a big canter. So yeah, we did a few bits and bobs of dressage. And I thought, oh, I quite like this. I quite like trotting around looking a bit pretty. So yeah, he was a really lovely boy. I think it was just, yeah, we shouldn't really have been trying to jump that ditch. It was quite big. So yeah, we ended up selling him. I think he went back to the people we bought him from because they had like a younger sister, and I'm pretty sure he's still going, you know. So he was great, he was lovely. So the next pony, she was my heart pony.
I love her so much. I still love her so much. She's my absolute baby.
So we actually bought her sort of, I had her for a period of time at the same time as Squiffy. Bought her as a show jumping pony. She was a little 138 show jumping pony. She was 7 at the time. When I say to you, the quickest thing I've ever seen in my whole life, like, she was speedy, she was cool, she was really cool. But yeah, scared the life out of me when I went to go and see her, but she could jump, like, she jumped everything, anything. Little New Forest. So yeah, I bought her to jump on, and it sort of coincided with the time, like when I fell off Squiffy. I sort of thought, not that I'd lost my confidence on her with the jumping, but I just thought maybe I want to focus a bit more on the dressage. I was enjoying it, she moved quite nicely. I just thought, I'm still going to do the jumping with her, but she's also got to turn her hoof to dressage, the poor thing. We ended up, over the course of about 3 years, taking her all the way up to medium level, which she actually did, like a pony, a little pony FEI test. I think I got like 60.2% or something, which I was like so pleased with. Or maybe it was 62. I mean, I came last, but like, that's not the point. Like, I was just so pleased that we took her from this, I'll try and insert a photo, to this. Yeah, she was just an absolute angel. And do you know what, the thing with her, she was like Marmite. Judges either loved her or absolutely hated her. I remember doing like the regionals and stuff, and you'd have two or three judges, and one judge would have me on like 58% and the other one would have me on like 75. Like, there was 18 marks difference once at a championship show with her. So that was the trouble we had. She's on loan to an absolutely lovely girl who's equally enjoyed her and equally fallen in love with her, and I still am able to go up and visit her, so it's just a good outcome, to be honest. So in between, I think I'm lying a bit, there was a period that I had about 3 ponies at one go. I've forgotten one called Henry, who I will insert a photo of. He was a Welsh section D. No, I bought him after Lady. I definitely bought him after Lady. He was a Welsh section D, 14-2, 4-year-old, who had been newly backed, who we thought we'd buy. So obviously we didn't have tons and tons and tons of money. We thought we'd sort of buy something a bit nicer, a bit younger, try and produce him, and then he'll be ready for me when I've come off pony, the Lady, who was 13-2. So I'd have this 14-2 pony. He was talented. He moved beautifully. He jumped. I will insert a photo. I've got this one jump of him literally jumping like the top of the wings of a little spread. But yeah, he was sharp. He was a competition pony, so I definitely learned a lot with him as well. I mainly did dressage on him, but I did hold my hands up. I did struggle with him quite a lot. I had quite a bit of help with him, but he was just, I found him really strong, and he didn't scare me as such, but I just found him quite tricky and quite frustrating. So I had him for about 3 years, and then we decided to sell him more as like a jumping pony, because he was a bit too spooky. I couldn't really deal with him in the dressage arena. So yeah, after the ponies, when I was 15, we thought it'd be a good idea to buy me my first horse. This is where it gets a little bit sticky. So again, at this point, I was fully committed to the dressage. I'd done all the birds, I'd done all the home internationals, I'd done everything with Lady, and I was ready for the next step up. I was ready for the horse. But obviously, as quite a lot of you probably appreciate, dressage horses are expensive. And although I'm from quite a comfortable family, like financially, obviously we have the freedom to have horses, which is amazing, but my parents couldn't afford like a ready-made dressage horse that had been taught the tricks and could do all the moves and everything like that. We just didn't have the budget for that. But obviously we thought at the time, you know, Sarah, I was doing quite well with Lady, I'd got her up to medium. We thought we would like something that's fairly talented, that will basically be like my horse for the next 10-20 years. So we thought it would be a good idea to buy a 4-year-old 16-2 newly backed Apache gelding. Apache, by the way, is the breeding, so he's by Jazz, is all I can say. We thought it would be a good idea to buy a horse like that, which is Bumble, which some of you guys might have seen on my channel, but if not, I will insert some clips of him now, some photos of him now. So we bought him as, I think he was 4 rising 5, I think, but like newly cut, newly backed, all that sort of stuff. He'd been produced absolutely beautifully. You know, the people we bought him from done such an amazing job with starting this horse. And when I went to try him, he didn't put a foot wrong. I got such a nice feeling from him. I was so confident. Bearing in mind I was still quite young, and back then I was a skinny bitch as well, not now. And yeah, there was nothing off me, but I got on really well with him. So we got him back, and let's just say I was overhorsed, seriously overhorsed. And even me and my mum say it now all the time, we laugh about it. Like he's literally taught us the most that any horse has ever taught us. So we bring him back, and yeah, it turns out he doesn't like being in a stable, for one, as in like box walk for England. I didn't really like going on the lorry, so we had to get that sorted. And he was just sharp, a typical hot young horse. So I've had him now, how old am I? I'm 20, nearly 24, so I've had him since I was about 50, so I've had him about 9 years, and all I can say is that we're still competing at novice, basically. We've made so many mistakes. He's had quite a lot of time off for injury, but I've learned so much. The biggest thing that I've learned with him is how to manage a horse like him. Like obviously buying him, he was this precious, like our precious sort of the first horse, competition dressage horse that we'd ever had. We were protective of him because I mean he pissed around in the field, he pissed around in the stable, he pissed around the field. There was nowhere that he was really relaxed. So we were sort of like advised by loads of people, and it was just the norm back then as well, like for quite a lot of people, to just keep him in the stable, put him on the horse walker, and he can go in the paddock for a few hours if he's not going to piss around. That's sort of his life, which suits so many horses, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not dissing that, I'm just saying for him the box walking obviously just continued, and him doing that obviously he's gonna hurt himself. I mean, to be fair, he probably would hurt himself being out in the field or being in the stable at that point. That came back to bite us probably a few years later, and we had the vet out, and the vet sort of said to me, look, it's going to be a long period of time off for him to recover, so you have one of two options. You box rest him, or I really advise that you just chuck him out in a field for like a year, or I think it was about 8 months, 8 or 9 months. You chuck him out in a field, learn to be a horse, like he just needs time to heal. And one of my mum's face, we were like, oh my gosh, like he won't cope, like he won't cope, he's too hot for that, like there's no way he'll cope. My vet literally turned around to me and said, Sarah, if he can't go out and be a horse, like that just answers your question for you. Like at the end of the day, he needs to be able to be a horse, and if he can't physically or mentally cope with that, then he's not going to be, no way will he be able to do the job that you want him to do. He was brutal with me, but I think I needed that. So we bit the bullet and we put him out with Rupert, Eve's pony, and when I say to you, that has transformed him. That has literally transformed him. He is a completely different horse now. I never thought I'd see it. I never thought I'd see it. So to this day now, winter, summer, he's out for about 16, 18 hours overnight, and then he comes in for a few hours during the day, has some food, has a hay net, and then he's back out, off he goes, still with another horse. He's with Wilbur now, Eve's cob, and he loves it. He literally loves it. There's no stressy behaviour out there at all. He's the easiest horse on the yard. You lead him with another one and he's so chill. Don't get me wrong, he still has his moments, and in the winter it's like difficult to ride him and taking him out, like he's still a very tricky horse to manage. But yeah, that's probably been the biggest learning curve for me ever, is just for me personally, any horse I have now, I buy them and they are a horse. That is the biggest thing, because bloody hell, we kept him wrapped up in bloody bubble wrap and he managed to break. I'm going to try and compete him a bit this year, just try and enjoy him, try and get him out, because he's not old, but he's 12. So yeah, I'm just going to try and enjoy him and just do everything that makes him happy, to be honest, because I'm his little bitch, I'm his little servant, probably like we all are. So yeah, that's Bumble. But after, I think I'd had Bumble for about 3 years-ish, and this one sort of happened by accident. My mum was actually looking for a horse at the time, and we got put in touch with someone up north who had this beautiful 16, 17-year-old black, he was big actually, 17 hand gelding, who had been there, done it. He'd competed abroad. I think he competed up to like Inter 1, Inter 2. He had like everything, like he had the piaffe, the passage, the changes, everything was there. But he had string halt behind. So he was obviously being offered at a like much lower price. He was switched on, he was a sharp horse. And my mum's not, or back then she wasn't the most confident, so I think maybe it would have been a bit too much horse for her. But we loved him. So she was like, Sarah, do you want to get on? I was like, yeah, do you want to get on? So I got on him, and oh my gosh, I've never ridden a horse like it. The feeling that he gave me was just out of this world. I remember I think I'd done like a pirouette once, and the woman we were buying him from was like, just sit slightly and just outside leg. I was like, oh my god, you're doing like full pirouette. Like it was just amazing. Complete schoolmaster. Sharp, you had to know how to ride him, but yeah, we ended up getting him. Very lucky girl. And I had him for about 2 years, and he took me from medium to PSG in about a month, 4 weeks. yeah, he was amazing. I was so lucky to have him. I took him to a high profile show and did some junior tests on him. I think we came about 8th out of about 20. At the time I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't done very well. Looking back at it, God, the things I'd do now to be able to go and wear a tailcoat in an arena again. But I'm gonna hold my hands up and be completely honest with you guys. I was a bit of a twat. I was about 17 at the stage. I just discovered boys. I just discovered going out and drinking alcohol. I just left my strict girls' school and gone to a college that had boys, and riding wasn't my first priority. I'm just being completely honest. It's my biggest regret ever in the whole world. And this period of time probably lasted about 6 months, 8 months-ish. And I was starting to struggle with him a bit. He was a big horse, he was quite strong. I basically couldn't really school him myself unless someone else was like really riding him for me. So yeah, my parents made the decision to unfortunately get rid of him because my heart just wasn't there, which I am to this day like so gutted about. But then I think if I hadn't have gone through that, maybe I would have been going through that in a few years to come. Like, I don't know. But I went through that. I went through a bit of a shitty teenage year, a bit late really, about 17 to 18. I went through a bit of a like rebellious, like, it wasn't even that bad. I literally just went out a couple of nights a week. But yeah, I just wasn't as committed as I needed to be, let's say that. It wasn't horrendous by any means at all, but I knew my heart wasn't in it. My parents knew my heart wasn't in it, and at the end of the day, it's a lot of money to be spending on something that if your child's heart's not in it, then you can't, unfortunately, you can't keep sacrificing for that. So yeah, we got rid of him, and to this day I am still so gutted because I look back at it and I'm like, I know I'm never gonna have a horse like that again. Like, I was so lucky to have a horse like that. But you live, you learn, and I appreciate horses so much now, like literally so much. And it gave me that slight bit of insight into like what it's like to sort of compete and be in that sort of the real like competitive world of the sport. And recently I bought myself my first horse, and he is called Mayo. I think you might have seen him in a few videos. He is a 5-year-old Anglo-European Swedish warm blood. He has got a mixture of dressage and jumping bloodlines. I bought him unbacked. He literally was the weediest thing I think I've ever seen in my whole life, like so weedy. But I just fell in love with his personality. I think what I learned the most from Bumble is that for me personally, I'm not a shit rider, but I'm not like, I wouldn't class myself as like a professional rider. I'm not like hugely experienced with like really tricky, really hot horses. So for me personally, I'm going to start going for horses that maybe aren't as flashy but have a good brain, for me personally, because with Bumble obviously that's what I struggled with the most, is he's flashy but he hasn't really got it all up here. So I bought Mayo because he just seemed really sweet, really genuine, really chilled. I remember they were lunging him for like the second time and there was someone like hedge cutting and he literally didn't batter an eyelid. So yeah, we got him back, and he has been just an absolute dream. Like, it's just been so lovely. I've just been really enjoying him. Like, I feel confident to take him out hacking, just me cantering around the fields. I've taken him for arena hire, I've done a little show on him. And no, he's never gonna be a world beater. He's not the next Allegro, but he's allowing me to enjoy this stage of him being a young horse and being able to do it myself without like a shit ton of help. So yeah, he's really sweet. I sort of originally bought him to maybe sell, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, annoying.
He's obviously, as they all do,
he's now done an injury. So we're waiting for the results of what's going on with that before I crack back on, but he might be having a few months off. I'm not entirely sure. Nothing serious. I think it's related to like the hard ground. But yeah, he's a very sweet boy and he just seems really trainable. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't be anything too serious and we can get back out with him soon, because I was really enjoying it. And I think he was as well. He loves it. He just, yeah, he wants to work. He loves to please. So yeah, he's a good one. He was a good little find. So yeah, that is my riding journey, basically, in a nutshell. I've had a lot of horses. I've been very lucky. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this probably quite long video of my riding story. I've been completely honest with you guys. I've thrown everything in there. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you could let me know what you think. Let me know your experiences with your riding stories, if you've had similar experiences to me, different experiences to me. I'd love to know. And yeah, any suggestions on future videos, or what style of content you like. Do you like the sit down with me videos? Do you like the vlogs? What we're feeling, what we're not feeling. Any sort of feedback would be so greatly appreciated. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.